Demon Slayer Season 3. In this video, we will be recapping all the thrilling moments and epic battles from Season 3 of the Demon Slayer. So grab your Nichiren blade and join us as we journey through the action-packed world of Demon Slayer. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting content. Episode 1. At the beginning of the anime, we are shown a Kakushi who finds demon slayers amidst the ruins of Yoshiwara. Meanwhile, the increasingly ill Kagai is elated to hear that an upper-ranked demon has been defeated after a century. Akaza becomes aware of death of an upper-ranked demon, ends up in the Infinity Castle. He is brought to the Biwa woman who is in control of the castle. Akaza meets upper-ranked demons Gyoko and the nervous Hantengu. Akaza inquires about the arrival of Muzan and whereabouts of Upper One. Upper Rank 2 Doma appears and cheerfully greets everyone, but Akaza becomes angry when Doma touches his shoulder for what he punches off Doma's jaw. He quickly heals. The Biwa woman then informs Akaza that Upper One was summoned first and is present, and Upper Rank 1 Kokushibo reveals that Muzan has arrived. Muzan appears above the upper ranks, informing them of Gyutaro's death. He scolds the upper ranks, claiming they have failed to meet his expectations because the Ubuyashiki family is still alive and the blue spider lily is unfound. Gyoko tells the group he has valuable information, but Muzan quickly decapitates him. Muzan expresses his dislike for change, believing that staying the same is superior. He assigns Gyoko and Hantengu to go to a location Gyoko told. Akaza becomes angry with Doma for trying to join the mission without orders and cuts off the top of his head. After Akaza's hand falls off and Kokushibo appears, addressing the disruption in hierarchy and telling Akaza to engage in a battle if he is disgruntled, and he leaves. A demon slayer wearing Hanafuda earrings is being served tea by someone on a porch. The host apologizes for having Demon Slayer watch his child and for his wife being asleep. He thanks the Demon Slayer, claiming that it was he who saved their lives and allowed his child to be born. Tanjiro wakes up in tears and realizes that what he just experiences was just a dream. Kanao enters the room and rushes over to him. She then tells Tanjiro that he has been unconscious for 2 months since the battle. His friends become ecstatic upon hearing the news. Goto informs that Zenitsu has already recovered and Inosuke was on the brink of death but somehow pulled through. Inosuke surprises everyone by appearing hanging from the ceiling and playfully scolds Tanjiro for making them worry. A week after, Tanjiro is back to his rehabilitation training while his friends Inosuke and Zenitsu have returned to their duties. He is disappointed to learn that Haganezuka has refused to make him a new sword, but he is informed that he can visit the secretive Swordsmith village to find a new one. Accompanied by a female Kakushi, he is given a blindfold, earplugs and nose plugs to keep the village location secret. During his journey, he is guided by different Kakushi, guided by Kasugai Kraus, until he reaches the village. He expresses his gratitude to the village's chief, and his loud cry of thanks is heard by someone bathing in the hot springs, who turns out to be the love Hashira, Mitsuri Kanoroji. Tanjiro meets the chief of the Swordsmith village, Tichin Kawahara, who offers him sweets and tells him about the missing swordsmith Hotaru, who refuses to make him a new sword. Tichin advises Tanjiro to heal at the hot springs and offers to designate a new smith if Hotaru is not found. While there, Tanjiro is greeted by the love Hashira. Later, while in the hot springs, Tanjiro is hit by a Luthus and sees Gene Shinazugawa, who he recognizes from previous encounters. Gene is hostile towards Tanjiro and slams his face into the water before leaving. Tanjiro and Mitsuru return to the village and discuss Genya, Sanemi's brother. They decide to give him onigiri, but when they realize he's missing, Mitsuru leaves to hone her sword and tells Tanjiro about a hidden weapon he can train with. The next day, while searching for the hidden weapon, Tanjiro and Nezuko hear 2 voices arguing in the distance. One of them is Muichiro Takito, the Mist Hashira, and Tanjiro sees someone familiar with them, the man from his dream. Episode 2. The swordsmith refuses to give Muichiro the key, and Muichiro chops at the boy's neck, rendering him unconscious. Tanjiro defends the swordsmith, but Muichiro knocks him unconscious too. Tanjiro wakes up and asks about if Haganezuka had been around, but the swordsmith says he's not there. The boy thanks Tanjiro for defending him, and they discuss the mechanical doll which Muichiro took with him. The Swordsmith explains that it is the Yorichi Type 0 built by his ancestors. If the doll is broken, it cannot be fixed by anyone, making it very valuable to him. Muichiro engages in a fierce battle with the Yorichi Type 0 doll, impressing Tanjiro with his skill. Muichiro's Kasugai crow reveals that Muichiro is the descendant of the sun-breathing technique, and the crow bites Tanjiro when he questions this claim. Tanjiro then realizes he saw the doll's face in a dream. The Swordsmith suggests that Tanjiro may have seen inherited memory from one of his ancestors. After a while, the doll is severely damaged and Katetsu runs away in distress. Tanjiro finds Katetsu in a tree and offers his help, inspiring him to continue. As they walk back to the doll, Muichiro appears, having finished his training. Muichiro orders Tanjiro to dispose of his old sword and for now uses sword of the doll. As rain falls, Tanjiro and Katetsu test if the doll is still functional and are amazed to find that it still works. Katetsu then asks Tanjiro to train with the doll to surpass the Mist Hashira who angered him earlier. While fighting the battle doll, Tanjiro is unable to lend a aid and is weakened further by being punished with no food or drink by Katetsu. He eventually feigns mid-battle and finds himself in the Sanzu River, feeling warm and smelling a shiny stone. Upon touching the stone, he wakes up mid-attack and detects a new scent. After he dodges the doll's attack, making a little progress, for what Katetsu offers him food as a reward. Tanjiro regains his stamina and now is able to see the movements doll. He leaps over the doll and brings his blade down to slash it, but pauses mid-attack, unwilling to destroy something too valuable to Katetsu. Katetsu allows Tanjiro to finish his strike. Tanjiro breaks his blade on the doll and falls to the ground. They hear the doll's body break open and reveal a 300-year-old sword inside. After finding a 300-year-old sword, Katetsu believes Tanjiro should wield it, and when they unsheath the blade to find it severely rusted, Hataro Nezuko arrives and insists on taking the sword, confusing Tanjiro and Kaketsu. They argue over the ownership of 300-year-old sword until Kozo Kanamori arrives, calms Hataro down by tickling him. He reveals that Hataro had secluded him in the mountains to make a sword that would not break for Tanjiro. Hataro then gives Tanjiro a temporary blade before they leave. Tanjiro goes to the village and talks about Hataro's polishing process. He shares his concern with Genya, who denies being his friend and blames him for breaking his arm. Tanjiro realizes that he is missing a tooth and tries to return to him, leading to Genya kicking him out. Later, on his way home, a swordsmith discovers a vase and tries to pick it up, but gets pulled inside it. Gyoko appears, aiming to destroy Swordsmith's village. Muichiro wakes up Tanjiro and asks for the whereabouts of his new swordsmith. Tanjiro offers to help, and Muichiro is surprised by his kindness, asking about his reasons for caring about others. Tanjiro explains that helping people will always come around to help him. Tanjiro and Muichiro hear someone outside their room, and Hantengu, an upper-ranked demon, enters tearfully. Muichiro unsheathes his blade and tries to attack him, but Hantengu evades it. Tanjiro uses Hinokami Kagura, Sunflower Thrust, but also fails, and Nezuko lands a powerful kick on Hantengu. Muichiro, seeing his chance, beheats Hantengu. After Demon's headless body transforms into a new demon with a different appearance, while the severed head regenerates a new body. Muichiro tries to attack the demon, but the demon uses a leaf-shaped Uchiwa, blowing the Mist Hashira away. Nezuko holds Tanjiro down. The manifestation of pleasure, anger, appear as two separate demons and attack Tanjiro and Nezuko. Sekido paralyzes them with his Kakara, but Genya arrives and beheads him with a shotgun. However, Tanjiro realizes that beheading the demons is not enough to defeat them, as they can regenerate their heads and bodies, and suddenly the winged demon appears and grabs Tanjiro, while spear-wielding demon impales Genya. Tanjiro tries to use Hinokami Kagura, but is hit by a powerful sonic shriek that makes his body numb. Muichiro lands safely and rushes back to help Tanjiro. Along the way, he sees a fish-like demon trying to eat Katetsu, but he deems helping the child to be of low priority and continues on his way to find the main demon body. However, he remembers Tanjiro's words about helping others eventually benefiting him and decides to help Kaketsu. The fish demon grabs hold of Katetsu, but Muichiro slices off its arm and frees the young boy. Episode 4. Muichiro saves Katetsu from a fish-like demon and beheads it. He's surprised to see it still moving until he realizes it was made with a blood demon art. Finally, he ends it by slicing the vase on its back. Katetsu thanks Muichiro for saving his life and begs him to save Kozo and Hataru. Although Muichiro initially tries to ignore him, he remembers that Kagae Ubuyashiki had said to him about getting himself and his memory back and decides to help. Muichiro carries Katetsu on his shoulder and runs to save Kozo and Hataru, wondering if he is making the right decision. Meanwhile, Tanjiro stops the winged demon's sonic attack by slicing its head in half, which instead forms new mouth and attacks him. He steps through its halves of flesh, but it regenerates and continues to attack. Tanjiro manages to cut through its head and stop its sonic strike. However, the demon regrows its lost half and takes flight once again. The demon of sorrow attempts to defeat Nezuko. Gene begins to recite the Amida Sutra, which confuses Sekido. Aizetsu swings his Yari at Gene, but misses. Gene tries to slide Aizetsu's neck, but is shocked by Sekida's electricity. Eventually, Gene is able to shot and sever Sekida's right hand, but Aizetsu slams his Yari into Gene's chest. Karako kicks through Nezuko's torso, intending to rip her limbs off and immobilize her. Nezuko fights back and partially severs Karako's neck, setting him ablaze with her exploding blood technique. She also blasts Karako away with his own wind and tries to repeat the move with Sekido, but he stabs her in the neck and shocks her with electricity. Tanjiro fights the demon of joy and guides himself back to the building. Tanjiro stops Sekido with Uroge's severed foot, which has the same cells as Sekido, preventing conduction. Tanjiro injures the demon's tongue, frees the Kakara from the Nezuko's neck. Nezuko burns the demon with the blood demon art, after Karako turns and traps them with the powerful downburst, causing them to fall unconscious. In the Swordsmith village, numerous fish demons attack. Mitsuri hurries to the village. Episode 5. Muichiro and Katetsu head to Kozo Kanamori's workshed in the forest. Along the way, they save Kozo from a fish demon and discuss the state of his sword. Suddenly, they are interrupted by Gyoko. The Swordsmith village is under attack by Gyoko's blood demon art. Mitsuri arrives just in time to save a group of villagers and begin defeating the demons. She rushes to rescue the chief. Using her whip-like Nichirin sword forged by teaching, she ends the demon. As Tanjiro and Nezuko try to escape from Sekida's lightning attack, the siblings are launched into the air by powerful gusts of wind. Nezuko grabs onto Tanjiro's sword. She ignores Tanjiro's pleas to let go of the sword and continues to grip it tightly. Gyoko introduces himself and shows his artwork, a collection of the mangled body of Swordsmith with blades embedded in them. Muichiro becomes enraged and attempts to slash Gyoko's neck, but the demon evades and jumps to another vase. Gyoko summons 2 demon goldfish and spews hundreds of needles at Muichiro and Toothsmith. Muichiro protects the smiths and takes multiple needles to his face and arms. Gyoko insults Muichiro for saving worthless lives, but the words reminds Muichiro of a past memory. After Muichiro speeds forward, annoyed at his talkative opponent, Muichiro tries to cut Gyoko's neck, but his attack fails as the demon creates a new vase and traps Muichiro in a watery pot. Meanwhile, Tanjiro watches as Nezuko's flames turn his sword red and realizes that he is seeing an inherited memory of his ancestor who wore the same earrings as him. His ancestor's blade was black like his, but it could turn red at the moment of fighting. Tanjiro's scar burns and the swordsman's image overlaps with him, surprising the demons. He uses Sun Hollow Dragon Head Dance technique to decapitate the demons. He sets his sights on Hantengo, hoping to behead all 4 clones at once, but he spots Gene in the forest, who has already defeated Aizetsu. He turns his head, revealing that he has been turned into a demon. Episode 6. Shocked by Gene's demonic appearance, Tanjiro hesitates to approach him. Tanjiro frees Nezuko and they embrace in relief. Tanjiro discovers the 5th stand among the demons and vows to find it. Gene, filled with determination, declares that he will become a Hashira and seeks Tanjiro's support. As they prepare for battle, the other demons fully regenerate, and Tanjiro urges Gene and Nezuko to engage while he searches for the fifth demon. He triangulates the location of the fifth demon, Hantengu, hiding in the nearby bushes. Tanjiro directs Gene to head northeast while he confronts the demon of joy. Sekida summons lightning to stop them, but Tanjiro calls on Nezuko to attack Sekida and stop the lightning. Karaku sends Tanjiro flying with the gust of wind, but anchors himself and continues fighting. Nezuko is impaled by Aizetsu's weapon, but Tanjiro saves her and fights the demons with the newfound speed and strength. Tanjiro guides Gene to the forest while dealing with the demons himself. Gene searches for the hidden demon but struggles to locate it. Tanjiro directs him to the right, where he finds Hantengu, who has shrunken in size. Gene attacks the demon, but his blade breaks, and even his shotgun pellets have no effect. Sekida appears and prepares to strike Gene with his Kakara. Gene realizes he cannot dodge the attack and reflects on his past, recalling his abusive father and protective mother. As Sanemi goes to look for their mother, Gene stays behind to watch their younger siblings. Gene recalls the tragic event where their mother, transformed into a demon, attacked their home, ending their siblings. Sanemi protected Gene and fought their mother, resulting in her disintegration. Gene apologizes for accusing Sanemi of ending their mother and acknowledges the pain his brother endured. They made a promise to protect their family after their father's death. Gene realizes he is about to die and reflects on his lack of talent and inability to use breathing techniques, which prevented him from becoming a Hashira. He questions why Sanemi's smiling face is the last thing he sees and wonders why his brother pushed him aside. Tanjiro intervenes to save Gene from Sekida's attack and encourages him not to give up, reminding him of his aspiration to become a Hashira. However, Aizetsu appears and launches an attack with whipping spears. Gene shoots Tanjiro and sustains multiple wounds, requesting Tanjiro to behead the demon in his place. Aizetsu lunges at Gene and Tanjiro chases after the fleeing Hantengu, eventually reaching a clearing where he confronts the upper-ranked demon with his red blade.